Hi, I'm Katie.
And I'm Koli. Welcome to the S3E4 Coven podcast, little witch detectives.
Hi.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I feel like it's been a minute since we've recorded,
It has been. It's
which
been
is
like 3 weeks.
which is definitely my fault, I'm sure. At least the last time I know it was my fault. But um I think also with like Pride Month, things just get a little crazy for me every year.
Yeah,
But it's July now.
it is July.
Oh heck, Cancer season. We are here.
Heck yeah.
Should we just jump into things?
Yes.
All right, cool. So, this is the Witch Talk. It's the corner of our intro of our show where we catch you guys up on what we've been doing. I always laugh that it's a little redundant because Colleen and I do talk all the time, so we're pretty well updated with each other's lives. So,
Yeah.
this is for you guys. Um, so what to heck have I been up to? I did go to Nashville Pride, which was the most fun. Um, and if you guys are familiar with the laws going on in Tennessee right now, it's not so great, especially for LGBTQIA plus individuals. However, there have been like some small wins, like laws getting overturned and stuff. And
Yeah.
so it was really cool to experience Pride in Nashville because it was literally like the festival was like a week after a couple of those laws got overturned. So everybody there was like super emotional, and Fits in the Tantrums headlined and they were super emotional because one of their lead singers lives in Nashville, you know? And
Yeah.
so it was just like um it was by far the coolest Pride I've ever been to, especially because Atlanta Pride is in October. So we don't like do Pride stuff during Pride Month.
Yeah.
And that's because Atlanta's Pride has like a rich history of being in October and has been going on for longer than it's been like officially Pride Month for
Mm-hmm.
June. Um, so they keep up with that tradition, and I love that because I've been a part of that since I was a kid, but I actually got to go to the festival during Pride Month.
Yay.
And
That's
so
exciting.
yeah, so I think that was like the biggest thing I've done lately. It's like, and it was just so fun, and I had such a blast. So,
Yeah.
um, I also might have gotten a job.
Yay.
I have not signed the paperwork yet, so I've only had like a verbal offer, so it's not official fish, but I'm supposed to get it or get a written offer letter today. So if
Yay.
that goes through, I may have gotten a job, and once I have it, I will tell you guys what it is. But for right now, I feel like I shouldn't just because I had the ink is not dry and I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to jinx it. Um, but yeah, other than that, that's all that's going on with me. What's going on with you?
Well, I got my nose pierced.
It's so cute. We're matching now.
Yep, on the same side. Um,
So cute.
I got a contributor position at a new magazine startup called Royal Rose and Company.
That's so pretty.
It's not paid yet, but it has the ability to be paid later on, hopefully.
Mhm.
Um, I'm gonna be writing like 2 articles a month for them.
That's not bad.
No,
And it's definitely a good like resume builder
yeah,
experience. Yeah,
yeah. It's definitely something to put on my portfolio because stuff on my portfolio has been not working the right way.
I
So,
feel.
um, and what else has happened?
What did you do this weekend?
Oh, my birthday party was this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was invited, but I did not have the funds to fly up Koli's direction.
Yeah.
Was it fun? How did it
It
go?
was. It was a lot of fun. We didn't wind up watching the movie. Um, we just like sat around and talked. It was nice.
That's like sweet though.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
everyone loved the cake, which was amazing.
Yay.
It was an ice cream cake and it was cotton candy ice cream and vanilla ice cream with cotton candy crunch in the middle.
That sounds good.
It was so good.
Um, what else is going on? Anything?
Um, I didn't do anything Pride themed for Pride Month. Just because the one day that was Pride around here, I had a birthday party to go to after work. So I went to the birthday party instead, and it
There.
was fun.
Yeah. You do have your Lesapalooza though, right? Coming up.
Yes, that's coming up the end of September, and I'm so excited.
That just looks so fun.
I got my new sleeping bag for it.
Oh,
So,
so fun.
yeah. They're
All right.
almost sold out already, and the tickets just went up June 15th.
I keep forgetting because I was gonna try to I just looked up it's 11:11 as we're talking.
Oh,
Um I was gonna look into those tickets to see about maybe going, but
next
I
year.
yeah. Yeah, I should plan for it for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely,
'Cause
because they're like the tickets are decently expensive. So,
as they should be. I
yeah,
think, you know,
yeah,
um but I think you're gonna have so much fun. I'm excited for you.
I'm excited.
Well, shall we continue on the journey?
Yes. So, this is our Mariska corner where we catch you up on what Mariska's been up to. That she's publicly shared. So you may or may not already know this stuff.
We're not stalking her, I
We're not
promise.
stalking her. Um, so she's on vacation. She started out in Italy and then hopped over to London
As you do.
and then hopped over to France and then back to London. And just a few days ago, she was still on vacation and she ran into Andy Carl,
Naturally.
naturally. Um, but she hasn't really been on social media since then because
Mhm.
apparently there was some shenanigans going on in her comment section. And she
Uh,
got some hate. I don't know why, but she did. And yeah.
there's also, I'm about to talk about it. But you know, Chris Meloni was trending,
Yeah.
and every time he trends for anything, even if it's not related to her,
Mhm.
I find that the Krishka shippers come out.
Yep.
Um, and that usually starts some sort of comment war or Twitter thread, or you know, the Reddit people come out. And I think this was happening around the same time
Yeah.
too. So it wouldn't surprise me if she was getting like random hate and then the Krishka people piled on and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's
That's
too old
another
for that
thing
shit.
that I didn't mention in my witch talk. I deleted Twitter.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you have more strength than I. I Coley and I were talking about this earlier, but I'm struggling to delete Twitter because it's my favorite social media ever. Um and threads, I'm just mad. Like I wish we could have just left Twitter alone. Why'd you have to come for my safe space? Um
Elon.
Elon. Um and I don't know how I feel about threads because I feel like it's gonna die out in a week,
Yeah.
but it seems to be hanging on, which makes sense because Facebook and Instagram know what they're doing. So, but yeah, Koli deleted Twitter. Mariska doesn't have Twitter anymore. Who's left to follow? Elon. I keep bringing my coffee over like I'm going to drink it, but it's too hot. So then I move it back. It's traveling back and forth with me. Speaking of social media though, Chris Meloni doing his little Peloton ads.
Yeah.
Every time he has a new commercial come out, he sexualizes himself in these commercials. Like consents to it.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're sexualizing him as a community. Like it's the point of the ad is that Chris Meloni thinks he's hot. Not saying he's not hot. He's not my usual cup of tea, but like it's frustrating because I feel like people are hopping on this Meloni bandwagon because he's hot right now, he's back in the game, he's funny, all that stuff, and completely disregarding the Meloni of it all.
Yeah.
And or they just don't know about his previous transgressions, which if you don't know, we have a whole episode on it. And I just need some sort of public like acknowledgement from him, because until that happens, every time something happens like this where he's trending or does something cute or whatever and I want to be excited about it, I just can't be, because he's just so it's not even like he's dishonest about it. I think he still thinks that way.
Yeah.
He just doesn't tweet about it anymore.
Yeah.
But until he says something to the contrary, you can assume that he's still a little transphobic. So it's frustrating because I want to be excited about these Peloton ads and I want to laugh at the memes about his butt, but I cannot.
Because this one was Tommy Copper. This one wasn't Peloton.
Oh, right. You're right.
Yeah. It was for the socks.
Yes, you're right. But irregardless, it's the same energy as the, like all his little ads he does. And so I'm just frustrated and I wanted to talk about it because I can't ever decide how I feel about Mr. Meloni.
So when Katie first sent me the ad, I watched it and then I commented on it on like to Katie specifically, only to Katie. I said, he really needs to stop with the whole simulated nudity. There we go. I said it's getting old, and I said ... So is he.
I was about to say that.
Yeah. And getting old isn't bad. It's better than the contrary. We're all gonna get old. It's like I said, it's better than the contrary of not getting old and dying.
Right.
But like I personally don't want to see simulated nudity of a 60-year-old.
I think it's wonderful that he takes care of himself and he's confident in his body and in his life. And I think if he wants, I mean, it's his Instagram, it's his money, it's his life. He can do what he wants. But it's frustrating to me, at least, that it always, every time he does something like this, it directly comes back into the SVU community.
Yeah.
And then there's all this discourse like gassing him up and not acknowledging the bad shit that he's done that he needs to apologize for. And I think that's the biggest frustrate to me, because I can choose not to look, but I don't want to leave this community and I can't get past my frustration with him. So it's annoying to me a little bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like you and I are the only ones that see it. Because if you look in the comments, they're just so happy and gassing him up and stuff. And like, I don't know. And then Mariska's over here receiving hate for being in love with her husband.
Yeah,
I digress. On to
I don't
the next.
know.
Yeah. Well,
My birthday is tomorrow.
I know.
I'm gonna be 31.
Oh my goodness. Are you doing anything tomorrow or are you just counting like the weekend as your celebration?
I'm just kind of counting the weekend as my celebration. I don't plan on doing anything tomorrow. Um,
Yeah.
we have a league at the golf course that goes out on Tuesday nights, so like I don't get like a special birthday dinner, but that's
Hmm.
okay. Unless my grandfather lets me order out, then I get something. And I don't like I've been craving a pliable for the past like 2 weeks. So I might get a pliable if he lets
Nice.
me order out. Um, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you had fun over the weekend and everything.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I want to eventually figure out how we could like stream something in our Discord server, which I'm going to talk about here in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That I wanted to do for your birthday. Maybe watch like Practical Magic all together or
Yeah.
like do some of our favorite SVU episodes or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Right, but I can't stream anything on Discord, I figured out because and I don't know if you'll be able to either because my MacBook just doesn't want to do it.
Okay.
And so I haven't figured that out yet, but one day I want to do a watch along with you guys, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah. Um,
Um
really quick, something I got for my birthday. My friend Amy, one of my best friends, um, gave me a picture. It was like a piece of art, and it's a cauldron with money burning in it, and it says Hex the Rich.
I love that.
Yeah.
I meant to tell you I saw a bumper sticker yesterday and it was the pan flag and then it had
Uh-huh.
like a bunch of witchy stuff in the center and different like symbols that you and I would recognize. And I was like, that's so cool. The witches just are out and alive.
Yeah, I
But
love it.
so we're recording this the day before and I believe it's gonna go up today as well, maybe.
Yeah.
Um the day before Koli's birthday. So everybody wish Koli a happy birthday. Yay. We love cancer season.
Yes.
If you're feeling like celebrating or maybe you're just excited to be a part of the coven, we do have merch officially that Koli and I designed ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um I have been too financially strapped to invest in merch for myself, but I am going to because I really want one of the cropped hoodies that we have that say listen to the SVU Coven podcast, but I also want a Meloni of it all mug because I feel like it would be cute to like have while we're recording.
Yeah.
I mean like the tea, the Meloni tea. Um so if you guys want to grab our merch, we will have a link available for you in the episode notes on YouTube, all that fun stuff. It's through Fourth Wall. We're not sponsored, but we do work with them and they have really great quality as far as their like clothing goes.
Yes.
Um, I also kind of want to get a sticker or figure out if we make magnets because I would put one on my car.
Yeah, if we could make magnets, I would put one on my car.
Right? That would be so cute.
Yeah.
Um,
I haven't invested in merch for myself either. I was going to this paycheck, but I invested in a nose ring instead.
it's cute and I love it.
So,
Um, yeah, we do have to pay for our own merch on Forge, but it's all good.
yeah.
Um, However, if you want to connect with us in a free capacity, we also appreciate that energy exchange. We are on Instagram at SVU Coven. We post most of our updates up there. I've been trying to post like clips from the podcast on there, anything like that. It's the most accessible way to get a hold of us or join the community. However, we also have a Discord server, like I mentioned earlier. It took me about a year, but I finally beefed that thing up and now it's a community server. And we're really looking to grow the Coven over there. So you are welcome to join. It's free. No big deal. You can find the link in our Instagram bio. We'll have it, as well as episode notes, all of that fun stuff. The link does expire after 7 days, I think, but I also tried to set it so that it doesn't. So hopefully, you can click it and just join. However, if there's any issue, feel free to DM us on Instagram and we'll send you a fresh one. Likewise, if you are not interested in joining Discord or Instagram, social media is not a medium that speaks to you. That's okay. We do have an email. You can reach out to us at svucoven@gmail.com. Koli does check the email, so somebody's reading it and, and one of us will respond. If you want to join the show, sponsor the show, send us stuff, anything that has to do with us, email is the best way to do it so we can keep a chain of conversation going.
Yeah.
So that's svucoven@gmail.com.
Yes.
Wahoo.
And this is your episodic reminder to rate, review, subscribe, and comment. Rating and reviewing rating and subscribing are the most important. They tell the algorithm that you like us and that will recommend us to other people who will hopefully like us, and the chain keeps going. Reviewing and commenting on YouTube are just really, really nice. We lost all our reviews when we switched podcast hosts, and as of current, the only one who comments on our podcast on YouTube is Katie.
It's just me.
It's just Katie. We love the energy exchange. We will read out your comments and or reviews on the podcast. And yeah, subscribe and like on YouTube. We currently have 5 subscribers on YouTube, which is fun.
Wahoo. Also we have a Ko-fi. Coffee?
Coffee.
Coffee?
I say coffee.
I heard somebody say Ko-fi the other day, but coffee makes more sense because it's like buy me a coffee kind of thing.
Yeah.
We appreciate the energy exchange. All the donations for that go back into the show.
Yes.
I'm trying to think if there's something else I needed to say. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh well. You ready to move on?
Yes.
Cool. So this is our self-love affirmation before we get into the episode. And this one has been one that's special to me because I've been saying it to myself a lot. But I got this from a meditation I did from the account called Great Meditation on YouTube. Not sponsored, but I listened to their 10-minute meditations every morning. And I was listening to one either last week or the week before. And the girl guiding it said to remind yourself or to affirm you are worthy of loving yourself. And I think
like that.
I do too. And I think a lot of the time we as humans try to remind ourselves we are worthy of love from receiving it from an outside source, from another person, from something we do, from animals, that we don't often think about the fact we are also worthy of loving ourselves and giving ourselves that love. And I find in my life, I've been doing a lot of healing over the past few years. I feel like we both have, really. And I think everyone is subject to their down days where you don't really love yourself and you're not feeling great. And it's a great reminder, I think, that you are so worthy of love, but you are also so worthy of loving yourself.
Yeah.
And I've been in this job search rejection mode for a while and going through different relationships and living situations and all of this stuff that makes me feel not adequate.
Mm-hmm.
But loving myself through it is the thing that's getting me through it. And so I
Yeah.
just really thought that was something, it really just stuck with me and I thought it was beautiful and I wanted to share it with you guys. So if you are not driving or operating heavy machinery, please close your eyes. Remember to breathe
Yes,
and
please.
take a few deep breaths for me, eyes closed. If you're in a safe place to do so. And remember that you are worthy of loving yourself and receiving the love that you give. Okay, ready for the episode?
Let's get into it.
All right, so season 3, episode 4 of Law and Order SVU Rooftop. You want to know something I love? I always get the Finn and Munch episodes.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with this because they are my favorite. And I'm surprisingly doing well seeing Munch so much. I only cried once during this episode. So we
That's
are
good.
So our summary comes from IMDb, not sponsored, but would love to be.
Mm-hmm.
Detective Tutuola becomes personally involved in a case when a friend's daughter becomes a fatal victim of SA.
Yes.
This summary is funny to me because it makes it sound like Finn is closer to this family than he is. But
yeah.
I do love this episode for the reason that rooftops are particularly significant through this episode. And I just find that very interesting for some reason. So we start out on a rooftop in New York. There is a couple making out on this rooftop. They walk away from where they are to a different spot and continue making out again, but then they hear a noise. The girl in the situation is startled and not trusting because she definitely hears someone nearby.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Elliot and Olivia show up with their flashlights. And I think it's funny when they show up with flashlights because they never really actually shine them where they should go.
Yeah.
But they show up and they are coming. You can tell that they know who they're coming to see.
Mm-hmm.
And that is Leon. Leon says that Stabler has a stink for him. Evidently, he's been out of prison for about 2 weeks. And the girl that he was making out with says that she's 14 years old, which makes her a minor.
Mm-hmm.
Stabler arrests him because Leon is HIV positive. And thank goodness that that 14-year-old girl had not had sex with Leon yet. But he did not disclose he was HIV positive. I would like to point out it's about, I think when they were filming this, it was 2000.
Yeah.
It came out in 2001. So this was also a hot button topic at the time. Not that it isn't now, but it was
Mm-hmm.
particularly a hot button topic around that time period. And also I noticed with Pride this year, there was an uptick in conversation about HIV and AIDS more than I've seen in the last few years.
Yeah.
Which I find interesting. But also during Pride, it tends to come up a little bit more, obviously. Yeah. And so I think it's university a little bit that we're covering this episode.
Yeah. And you also have to remember there was an entire generation that was pretty much wiped out of queer people because of the HIV AIDS epidemic. And because of a certain president's lack of action towards it.
This is when I would want my Meloni of it all mug, and so I could take a tea sip.
Yeah.
But yes, I thought that was I just wanted to note that I find that interesting timing alignment wise.
Yeah.
And then we done. I think this is my favorite squad that we're in right now. Stabler aside, but you know how at the end of the intro they show whatever the current squad is. And you
Mhm.
got Alex. I don't think Huang is in that shot, but he's prevalent right now.
Yeah.
And Baby Benson and Munch and Finn. I
Is
like all.
Melinda in that?
Yeah, Melon. I don't think she's in the clip at the end, but she's part of the cast now, I think,
Yeah.
because she's relevant, which is
Yes.
good. It's all the good peoples. Um, so Elliot questions Leon. Leon claims that young ladies feel me as a defense for making out with a 14-year-old girl, which is disgusting. He claims he did not have time yet to tell the girl that he's HIV positive, and he lawyers up here.
It's
Um,
also important to note that by telling the girl that Leon is HIV positive, they're actually breaking a law.
mhm,
You
yeah,
can't
they're
disclose somebody's status without their consent.
yep. There's also a theme going on in this episode of mistakes
Mm-hmm.
the cops are making, or they just SVU has a tendency to bend the rules a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's no secret, but definitely in 2023 would be worth talking about police brutality
Yeah.
and some things like that. So even though we love these characters and we're generally on their team, it is kind of something worth having in the back of your mind.
Yes.
Um So we find out that Leon had been in prison for sodomy two for 5 years, and he had just been released. Alex and Kragen discussed the case, but since he technically did not do anything, they can't hold him. And I like what Alex says here because it makes it all make sense. Because she says we can't arrest him on something he might do.
Mm-hmm.
But she has a plan and she asks for Wong to be called in, which I love.
Yes.
Um, Kragen then asks Elliot to close the door, and he says he doesn't remember asking Elliot and Olivia to tail Leon. And Elliot says, I like to think we just saved a young girl's life tonight, but Kragen tells them to back off until they hear from Alex, which is fair. It's the legal thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we often see Elliot getting angry about certain things and doing things he hasn't had permission to do.
Yeah.
Um, so all makes sense.
It's
Alex,
also important to note that even in this day, HIV wasn't necessarily a death sentence.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Um, so Alex decides that she wants to argue to put Leon in a mental health facility. They just have to prove that he has a mental illness,
mm-hmm.
which is honestly a smart tactic in my opinion. Um, the squad then debates the case and the specifics of the ages of the girl, and so you see a lot of people arguing about consent here,
Yeah.
age of consent. Alex and Huang come in and say they can make a case for antisocial personality disorder because Leon can't control his impulses. We find out that Leon got HIV from shooting dope. Um, their terms, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
Alex asks Elliot to be in the room when they do the conversation with other lawyers.
Yeah.
During this, I guess it's not a hearing. I just didn't know what to call it, this meeting with the lawyers. Um, Huang, Alex, and Elliot are in the room. Huang says that Leon has a sexual disorder. Elliot says the girl told them she was planning on having sex with Leon. They argue, regardless, that it's rape too, but the judge declines here, which is also a theme in this episode. The squad then discusses the case. Munch is supposed to go per. I guess they take turns with who leaves the squad room and who's on desk duty.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's a little jumbled up in these early seasons because, like, for instance, Olivia is on the desk most of this episode.
Yeah.
Um, so Stabler offers to go, and Finn offers to go in Olivia's place because Olivia needs to do some paperwork, which makes me wonder what was going on in Mariska's life at the time. Because I wonder if maybe she just like couldn't film because she was doing something or other, you know?
They could have been filming tandem episodes.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, I was giggling because if you guys listen to the show, you know we abbreviate the characters' names. And this episode is a lot of Elliot and Finn together, and so it just says F. And I was laughing the whole time. I was like, F. So Elliot and Finn go to the hospital to talk to the victim from the squad call. So they got a call in the office to go respond. She said that the dude's name was Andre and he was a promoter. He took her to a restaurant and walked her home. When they got to her door, he asked to go up to the roof. He kissed her despite her saying no, slapped her, at one point pulled out a knife on her, and it eventually essayed her. He told her she was lucky to experience him because he is so handsome. And I wrote gross in all caps.
Yeah. Very gross.
Very gross. Also the attitude my cat has. Elliot and Finn walk away, and Finn says she was basically used like a punching bag, which I felt gave a really good visual for people that haven't seen the episode or just listening to our audio, that kind of thing. Also, it's important to note that the perp used, he called himself a love machine. And this stuck out to Elliot because of a previous case that he had worked on.
I hate that phrase.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't know why. It gives me the ick.
Yep. Elliot tells Kragen about the first case he had with someone describing themselves as a love machine. Stabler says it's got to be Leon 100% connecting these two cases together. The victim in the hospital did test positive for HIV. Kragen says, all right, then bring Leon for a lineup. Finn gets in the car with Stabler. Evidently, Leon has a bad headache, so he can't come for the lineup at that time. Finn tells Elliot that. So, okay, I want to pause real quick here. This is a character development episode for Finn, for sure. Because we find out a lot about his childhood in this episode, and I don't want to minimize that experience, but there's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go too in depth about it, but this is where we find out that Finn grew up in Harlem, not far from where they were, and he was also about 6 years old during the '68 riots that happened. Which is interesting because I always forget that Ice-T is about that age.
Yeah.
So Elliot and Finn from here go to pick up Leon. Finn gets a little rough with him because Leon once again did not disclose to the woman he was with that he has HIV. They bring him in for the lineup, but it's been so long since it happened that the first victim isn't sure. She cries, but she can't identify him. And I put a note in here to talk about this a little bit. I think that a lot of the time the lineups can be extremely re-traumatizing for survivors. And I think SVU does a great job highlighting this.
Yeah.
As you guys might know, I used to volunteer at a SA crisis shelter, but also like a call center. And I had to watch a lot of survivors go through this just in like police questioning. So I can't even imagine how traumatizing a lineup would be.
Yeah. I mean, police questioning is traumatizing enough.
Right.
Re-traumatizing enough. I personally never went through a lineup because the police didn't believe me and didn't like the local SVU didn't come out to talk to me because my case wasn't urgent enough. Um, so I never went through a lineup. Um, but I also told the police multiple times that I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere, my case. Um, but I wanted a paper trail.
Yeah,
So,
fair. Yeah. I just felt like it wouldn't be us if we didn't talk about it.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think SVU does a great job of highlighting this, especially in this episode with these two survivors.
Mm,
Because the first one, she couldn't identify him, but you can see the physical reaction she has in her body and the way that she cries.
yeah.
Um, and then the survivor from the hospital comes in and she's in a wheelchair. Elliot reminds her that they cannot see her, so it's the two-way window glass mirror system.
Mm-hmm.
And he helps her to the window. She begins to shake and says she can't tell. And also, something about this lineup is the dudes really do look very similar to each other. The
Yeah.
actors that they have, oh my gosh, they nailed this lineup for that. So to her credit, it is very hard to tell which one is Leon. Um, she says she wants to wait until she can see better due to her eye injury.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to then cut Leon loose because no one could identify him.
Yeah.
Elliot and Finn, I was about to say Olivia. Elliot and Finn respond to a crime scene. It's another girl on a rooftop. It was a 14-year-old girl once again, and she was lit on fire and thrown off the roof. Melinda is already on the scene, as she always is, my girl.
Mm-hmm.
And um she says that the girl was dead before the perp lit her on fire.
Mm-hmm.
A man breaks through the crowd saying that it's his sister, and Finn recognizes him because he looks just like his dad. So Finn knows the guy's parents.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Rodney. They bring him in for questioning. Finn talks to him. He used to know his parents, so Finn did actually grow up with Rodney's parents. Rodney's mother died from breast cancer, and it was just him and his sister now. He said that he was up all night looking for her when she didn't come home past about 10 o'clock, and he knew something was wrong because she had only been going to the library.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he realized she was missing when her friends didn't even know where she was. Her name was
Aisha.
Aisha. I always want to say Aisha. It's Aisha. Aisha would tell him everything, and she was in school for gifted kids. She was incredibly intelligent. And Finn basically tells him that they've got an idea of who the guy is and they're gonna get him. Uh, this is another police thing that I don't think they should say.
No.
It gives false hope and usually backfires on them.
Yeah.
Um, and Kragen basically says that they need a warrant. They are trying to get Leon's criminal records unsealed. So
Mm-hmm.
from here, Elliot and Finn go to kind of expedite that process. They say that Leon used to kill or the people with the record that are in charge of his records
Mm-hmm.
say that Leon used to kill and torture his neighbor's pets when he was younger, for which he only got probation due to the judges basically being lenient with him. Leon ended up having to go into like a mental health facility that he then burned down. And we find out that most of his prior what's the word I'm looking for? Not convictions.
Yeah.
Prior convictions were arson related. And I wrote in all caps, fires.
I really dislike it when judges are lenient with kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's a personal thing because my sister did a whole bunch of stuff when she was younger, and the judges were so lenient on her, she didn't even she didn't even go to juvie. She finally went to juvie when she was about 16. But when she started doing all this stuff, she was like 14, and I don't know. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time it's like they don't want to send a child to jail, and I get
Yeah.
that that would be really difficult in their formative years and everything.
Mhm.
So I even understand maybe not putting them in jail and maybe putting them in a mental health facility or somewhere they can actually get formative care.
Yeah.
Um, However, it's, we have a whole system in place with juvie and for kids that break the law and all of that. And we have enough research out there proving how the brain develops and sociopathic disorders and stuff that it is. I understand on the one hand because they're children, but I also think there is a medium that can be reached.
Yeah. I mean, in my sister's case, she broke federal law and didn't even get
Right.
a slap on the wrist.
Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
So like eh, it's another one of those things that is conflicting about being a fan of a cop show.
Yeah.
But on to a lighter note, would you like to do our spell break?
Sure. So today is July 10th. The color of the day is white, and the incense of the day is lily.
Hmm.
And this spell is letting go of a relationship.
Oh God.
Relationships are crucial for a healthy life, and we have so many of them throughout our lifetime as we are social beings. Although some relationships last for years, others are fleeting, and as soon as that person comes into our lives, they are gone. Relationships can be with work colleagues, friends from school or college, lovers, and even family. The hardest part I always find is saying goodbye and moving on from the relationship, even if it has been a negative one. We tend to question our actions and wonder if we could have done something different. Yet negative or toxic relationships are damaging to us as they hinder our growth both spiritually and mentally. Nevertheless, we must let that person go and say goodbye to the relationship. If you have formed a negative relationship and need to let go, try this spell. If you have a picture of that person, then look at it while performing the spell. If not, you can picture them in your mind as you send them on their way from your heart and mind. Sprinkle some salt on a flat surface, such as the table, tray, or plate, and with your index finger, draw their initials into the salt. Look at their picture or imagine their face, then say the spell out loud. Bless this person in time and space. Remove the memory of their face. Their actions hurt my heart, and now we are forever apart. I say goodbye and free myself, never to meet again, but time will tell. Imagine the person going their own way and you going yours. Afterward, throw the salt away. Do not use it for anything again. It has absorbed the person's negative energy, negative actions, and has cleansed your heart. You can dissolve the salt in water, then simply pour it down the drain. And this is by Tudor Beth.
I in the past few years of my life, I'm also going through my Saturn return, which I just figured out.
Yeah.
So for our astrology girlies, you know what that means. But
Yes.
I I like this because I've recently, in the past few years, gone through a lot of changes in my relationships and lost a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't wish anything negative for those people, you know,
Yeah.
but I would like to be able to move on and let go of that situation, of those situations.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think this is a great way of like choosing yourself and
Yeah.
loving yourself
Mm-hmm.
and not doing a spell that would cause harm on someone else, but rather ending the connection so that you both can be better.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot.
Yeah. Me too.
Ties in with our self-love affirmation.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Of course.
Also, I apologize. They're doing some sort of lawn maintenance outside. So if you hear leaf blowers or whatever, I apologize.
No, I can't even hear it.
Okay, good. Sometimes when I'm playing Xbox, my Xbox mic picks it up, but I don't think my podcast stuff does.
Mm-hmm.
But anywho, so Huang, our favorite psychologist, says Leon is a sociopath, basically. He's been collared many times for arson. Kragan says to pull all his phone records in case he's called family recently, since he's been out of prison, and gives the detectives their orders. F goes to talk to Leon's mother. She doesn't believe that Leon has ever hurt anyone, but she is heartbroken that he has HIV. She's worried that Leon is doing drugs again, and she doesn't want him to go back to prison. She's a good mom, you know,
Yeah.
just normal mom reactions. Elliot and Finn then go to talk to some of Leon's neighbors. They say that they haven't seen him. They go up to the rooftop just to kind of look around, do a walk and talk. And this is where we find out a little more about Finn and how he grew up. Elliot points out that he grew up in Queens and it was really quiet there, and he always wanted to move into the city, whereas Finn kind of had the opposite experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'll go more into this later, but this exact conversation is why I love Ice-T being on SVU.
Yeah.
Because he adds a layer to it that these white detectives wouldn't think about otherwise.
Right. Right.
Elliot starts to climb the ladder to the water tower that's on top of this rooftop, and he finds Leon up there. Leon has overdosed and passed away. They believe that he could still have murdered Aisha given the time frames. And then Olivia gets a call of another body on a different rooftop. So they then go to see what I mean about the rooftops. They
Yeah.
then go to a different rooftop. And the squad responds to the scene. It seems as though the perpetrator did a number on this survivor's face. Melinda says, however, without a doubt, it could not have been Leon due to the victim passing away this morning. Important because Elliot, this is good character development for him, I think, because it's not the first time and it won't be the last that he takes the squad down the wrong path
Yeah.
for the wrong perp. So back in the squad room, Leon's mother comes in and basically yells at Elliot. What I think is significant here is that Finn actually defends Elliot for just doing his job.
Mm-hmm.
And Elliot thanks him for that. And if you guys know, in the earlier seasons, Finn and Stabler do not get along usually.
No.
Um, and that goes on for a while. Obviously, 2023 SVU is a little different, but this is the first time you see them getting along and Finn not being pissed at him.
Yeah.
And there's this added layer of Finn knowing one of the survivors' families, being from that area, you know, all this stuff. So it's a lot of growth on his part,
Mm-hmm.
this particular moment, I think. And goes back to the theme of, you know, being a Black detective
Yeah.
in New York City. So Huang and the squad debate the perp's tactics. Wong says that any challenge to a sense of control is what makes this perpetrator kill. We see Rodney, which, if you don't remember, was one of the survivors' brothers that Finn knew his parents. Rodney comes into the squad room angry that it wasn't Leon. And this is what I was talking about when Finn said to Rodney that they already knew who the guy was and that they were going to get him. And then it wasn't him. This is the like aftermath of cops saying that. And it makes me so frustrated.
Yeah. We see this again in a later episode. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's Elliot and a perpetrator's father.
Yep.
Not a perpetrator, a victim's father. Right. Sorry.
Yeah. So Finn talks with Rodney, but then another call comes in with a new victim. And they go to the scene. Melinda says that the victim put up a fight, but they don't have the DNA results, obviously, since they've got to send them to the lab. The landlord at that particular building says that this victim and her family are very nice people, always paid rent on time, etc., etc. Munch and Finn go to the victim's apartment. Her name was Tina. Tina's mom says that she works the graveyard shift and had sent Tina out to the corner store around 10. When she got home, she assumed Tina was at school because she had worked a little later than normal. And we find out Tina's last stop where somebody saw her was the corner store. Munch pulls Finn aside and says that he found a piece of paper with different phone numbers on it in Tina's bedroom. Munch and Finn then go to the corner store and they ask the guy working there if he had seen Tina. He said yes. A man was behind her and they ended up chatting. It seemed like they knew each other and they left together. They then go to talk to the landlord at the building, and he tells Munch and Finn about Malik Harris. Said he looks a little different than the photo that they have. He had recently shaved and otherwise matches the description of the guy they're looking for. There's a woman in the apartment with Malik, and I hate this guy. He yells at this woman to leave them alone, basically, and to shut up. And it makes me very angry, but it gets worse. So Munch asks if Malik was aware that a girl was murdered, and basically is, in a police way, accusing Malik of having done it. And this is the line that like irks me. But Malik turns around to the girl, the woman in his apartment, and says, "Baby, now you made dialogue," because he needed her for his alibi. And it's not the last time he uses the word dialogue in this episode.
No.
In all caps, I wrote yuck, gross, vomit in the notes.
Yeah.
However, she does in fact dialogue and confirms in her memory that they were together all night that night, thus providing Malik with an alibi.
Yeah.
So, outside, Rodney is at the center of a crowd yelling angrily at Finn in particular. Finn basically says that Rodney needs to stay away and asks why he would make it harder on himself. The important thing to note in this scene is that Finn basically tells the crowd of people that are angry that it's the media they should be angry at and not the cops. And this is another thing that young Finn does that could bite him in the ass very easily. I digress.
Yeah.
So we find out that one of the phone numbers that Munch found in Tina's room belongs to Malik, and Cragen gives orders. Then Cragen scolds Finn for bad-mouthing the media. Finn points out, this is so important, this scene. Finn points out that if 5 Black girls in Harlem have not received the media attention that a white victim would on the East Side. And this line is what really just got me. Finn looks Kragen dead in the eyes and says, "No matter what you say, Captain, you're not black and you're not from the hood." And then they cut the scene. And I think this is just why Ice-T is brilliant to me on this show.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it would be an entirely different episode. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Munch chases after Finn because he stormed out, and Finn goes and gets in his car, says he's going to talk to an informant, and drives away before Munch can get in the car with him. Finn asks his informant what he knows. The guy basically is a drug dealer Finn used to know from when he worked in narcotics, that helps him out, gives him tips and stuff. The dude mentions someone named King. He picks up drugs and smooth talks ladies with his rap line. So he's like a rap producer. Finn then informs Alex on all of this information he has gleaned, and she grants him permission basically to poke around and see what he can figure out. Munch and Finn go to a recording studio where Malik is working, and they then arrest him for possession of narcotics because that's all they could arrest him for.
Yeah.
Munch and Finn interrogate Malik and show them photos of all of the victims. He maintains that he simply walked Tina home. This scene is something I always remember. So they take Malik to go get a DNA sample with Melinda, and Melinda goes to swab his mouth, and Malik says he's a Jehovah's Witness and it's against his religion to provide his DNA. And all they have to do is say it. And Melinda can't swab. You look like you're thinking.
I'm trying to think if it is against the Jehovah's Witness religion to provide DNA. I don't know.
I think it had to have been at the time because Melinda immediately backs off, you know?
Yeah.
And says that as long as they say it, they don't even have to provide proof. And such is the rights of Jehovah's Witnesses. And of course, Malik is so smug about this, you know.
Yeah.
He begins to flirt with Melinda, and it's kind of funny because she's like angry about it, but she's also kind of like, heh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love when people flirt with Melinda. It's my favorite. Munch and Finn walk out with Malik, and they put him in the back of the car. And as Finn is pushing his head down into the car, which I believe police are allowed to do, he knocks his sunglasses off and then steps on them. And Malik then one of them says they're going to replace these sunglasses. And of course, they then swipe the sunglasses for DNA, and the DNA is a match on all 6 murders and 8 sexual or SAs.
Yeah.
Malik's lawyer says that the DNA lift was a violation, and he is correct. She, I can't remember. I can't remember if his lawyer was a man or a woman, so I apologize if I misgendered them. They argue that it's Finn's fault, that it was police brutality, essentially, that he pushed Malik and the glasses fell off. However, Alex argues that Malik did ask for a replacement, which makes the glasses fair game because they were then left and no longer his property. However, the judge throws the DNA out because they believe it's coercion. And the judge drops the charges against Malik and basically says that the detectives blew it, and all they have to go on at this point is his narcotics possession charge. Alex argues that Malik provided drugs to young women. He is a danger to the community. The judge of the case is angry with Alex for screwing up her own murder case. Bail is set at $2,000 and it's cash only. However, once this verdict comes out, Rodney jumps from the crowd and begins to beat up Malik, and they are separated, and then Finn arrests Rodney for assault. The squad then cut to the squad arresting Malik because they pulled his DNA off of Rodney's arm as Malik had bit him when Rodney lunged to attack him. Alex accuses Finn of telling Rodney to do what he did in court. Finn asks if she really wants to know, and Alex says no. So use your imagination on that one.
Yeah.
Alex says that it's not entrapment. Elliot comes in with the evidence. Malik says he wants a deal. And Finn says that he will bring Malik his last meal. And then we Dick Wolf.
We Dick Wolf.
Ooh. One of these days we need to wear our Dick Wolf merch.
Yes.
An episode. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle my cards here. I am using, I don't know if you can see, the Trip and Wait Tarot deck. It is my regular deck. I hardly ever use anything else, but I'm going to.
Katie shuffles. I'm going to give your second episodic reminder to rate, review, subscribe, and comment. Rating and subscribing are the most important things. They tell the algorithm that you like us and will then suggest us to other people. Reviewing and commenting is just really nice. We lost all our reviews when we switched podcast hosts. Commenting is really nice, and we will read out reviews and comments on the podcast.
Woohoo! We appreciate.
Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube.
Consensually.
Yes.
So you're gonna love this. The star fell out.
Oh, I love it.
I love the star. So, I love this card in particular. I've been really into stars lately and constellations and stuff in general, but I love this card in particular because it is about new hopes and new beginnings, revelation for the future, inspiration, courage, kind of like an enlightenment of the spiritual in yourself. But I think this directly connects with our self-love affirmation and kind of the theme of all of the spell work we've done this episode, of you are worthy of loving yourself and growing. And when you choose yourself and choose to love yourself, your future becomes brighter. It becomes the things you want to manifest in it. And so, my boyfriend would say something like, take care of your star player. But I think that all kind of goes, it's a Cat Williams thing, but it all kind of goes together because taking care of yourself and loving yourself is taking care of your star player. And your future is a lot brighter when you do that. So I think it kind of all connects together. The cards never lie.
The cards never lie.
They never lie. So if you're still hanging out with us, I just want to remind you to follow us on Instagram at SVU Coven. That's where we will post updates, just things going on with us and all that fun stuff. While you're there, you can click the link in our bio to join our Discord server. It's completely free, and it's a great way to connect with us one-on-one. We do everything SVU Coven over there, so make sure you get in there while you can. However, if social media is not a thing that speaks to you, it's not a medium you like to use, we do have an email at svucoven@gmail.com. Koli does check the email and shares it with me, so someone will respond. And if you're interested in being on the show, sponsoring the show, have questions for us, anything like that, svucoven@gmail.com is the best place to reach us. I also just want to mention we do have a coffee account where you can donate to us as well, and we appreciate the energy exchange.
Yes.
I think that's everything.
I think so.
Is that our show?
That's our show.
Well, heck. All right. Well, I love you so much.
I love you too.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.